Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. I thought it would be time to do a comment response video once again to the whole 3 stages of Gaijin grief stuff. The reason for that is because maybe it's not really a clarification thing. It's more I feel like it's good always to have like these discussions about generally how I feel about these things and kind of going through like my thought process and also going through what people say and everything. So we're going to go through all the comments. There's a decent amount of them obviously, and we're just going to chat about where like my head kind of sits on these things. So the first one is Tech needs to start making videos on his own personal War Thunder account without all the free stuff he gets from Gaijin for being a good boy. We won't be seeing any of the top tier content for years if that happens, and I'm okay with it. To be honest with you, I haven't really been playing a lot of top tier anyway recently. The reason why I wanted to kind of do this on stream was to kind of show you a raw go at things and also just explain a few things. So the way that this stuff works, the way that the CC things work is they actually use your standard account as the CC account. So you don't get like a new account. You don't get like anything like that. So my personal account is the same account that is used for all the other stuff. Now, when it comes to general grinding, I've never used GE for grinding. I've just researched everything out. I literally stream pretty much every day, apart from a few days when it comes to War Thunder, and we just play stuff. I have done this for 3 years now. So there are mountains of footage of me just going through, spading vehicles, researching them, and just playing them through. So I don't use GE for like golding anything, like researching anything. I don't use it for crew skills. The thing I use GE for is when they are removing certain premiums from the game, or if I need like camouflages for thumbnails. Like, like that's literally it. That I do request things. The things that I actually request are stuff such as the Build-A-Bear vehicles that you're not able to actually get. So usually from like Build-A-Bear events, there are like four vehicles that are on offer. I grind out two of them, and then I request the other two because it's impossible to actually get them unless you use the market. And as a CC, I don't want to use the market because I think the fact that I can get stuff for free kind of taints, me being able to profit off the game in that way, which, is just how it is. So yeah, the simple fact is there are thousands upon thousands of hours of me just researching and playing and spading different things. And I don't know how else to get it through to people that that's pretty much what I do, right? So I never will use GE to get anything when it comes to that stuff. I'll never do that. The only thing I do technically is the premium time stuff, right? So I have premium time running and I pick it up when it's 50% off every year, which, as I've said before, is $40 a year, which I think is not a huge amount of money for most people, especially since you can get it for free. If you do if you're on PC, obviously, hopefully consoles can get access to the market, but if you do the events and stuff on PC, you can get stuff for free, which is always really nice. But yeah, so the idea of like this personal account thing and then like the Gaijin account thing, they're the same thing. And for some reason, there's this huge belief that I just get a bunch of stuff for free, I request a bunch of stuff for free, and all of this stuff. And it's just not true. I grind everything out as I go. There was actually a problem last year with one of the updates where they decided to roll out another system. And you can ask Oxy this, you can ask Opsy this, anybody who runs the Gaijin content stuff. They rolled out this system of automation, which basically put all of the new vehicles onto your account for test drives. And I actually said, I don't want that, because that's not how I play the game. I play the game to research stuff, to grind it from stock, to give you guys opinions, which are basically like stock to spaded and working from that. And I was actually kind of annoyed that they put that stuff on my account because it meant that once I researched them, they came in fully spaded, which is something that just means that, okay, I'm not going to touch that vehicle then. because I'm going to get a bad opinion from it, and I'm not going to be able to, like, actually go through it properly. So yeah, that happened last year. I talked about it last year, but yeah, the memory stuff is tough. So I just wanted to remark that the people protesting the BR change and general state of the economy are not crazies. The current economy is not good for most players, and the grind is awful. I recommend watching videos from Tim's Variety. He explains it well, and balancing vehicles by adjusting the repair cost is not good. I mean, right, so the whole repair cost thing, like, there are going to be people who are negatively affected by it. But there was something that Alex said a few weeks ago, who's a good friend of mine, when it comes to, like, the online stuff. And he basically said, we are here for all the good, and we are not here for all the bad. My general issue with all of these things, if you look at general demands and, things that people bring up, there's absolutely no compromise. So it's all one way, and it's all, positive in one direction, which is completely fine, but it's also not tenable. And what that pretty much means is if you aren't willing to compromise or bargain or, even work out anything from there's nothing you can really do when it comes to the game. Like, you're basically just sat there and you're just going to say the same things over and over and over again, and talk about how certain parts of the game are busted, and there's not a lot you can do about it. The economy system doesn't work for everyone, especially if what all they want to do is, like, grind to top tier, or they play simulator, or they play specific parts of the game. And that's true, which is why when it comes to the economy stuff, hopefully they can get a fix to it, and hopefully they can make it fair for everybody without having bots take over the game, which is something which has been increasing over the period of time. Once they've made certain parts of the game, different when it comes to all this stuff. The problem I have, which is covered in the video today when it comes to the boycott stuff from earlier, and also when it comes to all of this stuff, is the lack of compromise, the lack of understanding that there has to be a balance between player and business, and how everything can't just be always free, and also lack of understanding on how the economy actually works. This is basically the simple issues that I have when it comes to it. Because everybody I ever talk to about this economy stuff, there are, like, simple things, right? So spading vehicles, researching through vehicles, doing the events, so you can actually get some free stuff to be able to pay for things, turning off auto repair, doing simple stuff like this can, like, save you just so much SL, which is why, at least for me, I've never had issues with SL for 8 to 9 years, even when I haven't been running premium, which is just how it is. So what are you gonna do? The next one, you're completely wrong. This is not voter backlash from the people who lost. The overwhelming majority of people participating in and supporting the movement are concerned with the overall SL model and not just these changes. These changes were the catalyst, not the overall issue. The idea for the changes was to address the issues that people had. They were given options to vote for a different system, and they voted for a different system. And now there's a lot of buyer's remorse. That's okay. But once again, it ain't the majority. And I'm just going to keep saying this over and over again. Like, I don't care how many people say that I'm wrong by just basically saying, no, you're wrong because I say you're wrong. And because I see a bunch of people around me who, like, agree with this, right? The simple fact is, if you just look at the numbers, which I went through in the video earlier today, it is a minority of people. And even if you have a look at the Reddit right now, and even if you have a look at other areas, people are turning on them because of the fact that they look like silly. And they just had some very rough times, like over the last week or so. Now the circle is shifting, as always it does, Like maybe the new system that people voted for is not what people thought it would be. And that's fair. Now it gets modified. Now you get to put in your suggestions. Now you get to, like, change everything else once again. But the problem is, you've got to tell me, what do we do as, like, a setup? Like, what is okay and what is not okay? Where do, like, the suggestions sit, and how do you make this balanced? And stuff like that is really not as simple as like 1 or 2 or 3 lines when it comes to these things. It takes so long just to work out even just like a specific vehicle. And that's probably the thing I have the biggest issue with, like these like simple fixes that go through, right? Which aren't simple fixes because it just completely forgets about everything else. 100k negative reviews isn't a small minority. A lot of people are annoyed by the economy nerfs that slowly keep coming to the game. Alright, so once again, I addressed this in the video earlier, but let's address it once again since I'm live and it's easy to do. So, 100k people. Is it a small minority? Is it not a small minority? There's 150,000 people playing right now. So if you don't understand maths and you just go, oh, 150,000, 100,000 people, that's the majority. Fair enough, how it is. But that is assuming that everybody who left reviews, first of all, is still playing the game and not just going into the Backlash, and also that everybody who plays War Thunder is playing at the same time. It's much better to average this stuff out, like across the way. So let's say right now there's 150,000 people that's online, but let's say on average there's like 90,000 people online, right? Just to be kind about these things, even though it's probably a bit more. So the average person per day has about an hour and a half to 2 hours of playing games like War Thunder, right? This was actually talked about by Gaijin years ago, and also talked by many different companies when it comes to like different setups and different stuff. So if you have a 2 hour period to play and the average is 90,000 over that period, then you just do 90,000 times 12. Okay, so you're dividing it by 2. That's 1,080,000 people over the space of 1 day who are online and in the game, right? Now, the last time I remember chatting about these things with a few of the Gaijin guys, this was like 2 to 3 to 4 years ago. I was told by one of them that it was either 1.4 or 1.7 million people logged in per day into the game. And that was before this massive increase after COVID and all of that stuff as well. So when you look at things like 100,000 people, I know it seems like a lot. And if you just have a look at like raw numbers, that's a lot. But it ain't. Like I don't know how else to put it. Right? It is a minority, like by definition. I know people don't like that word, and that's okay. It's fine, but it is. Like it's just like how the whole of like social media stuff for War Thunder is the minority of players. Like I'm just gonna have to keep bashing this into people's heads before they understand this. The whole idea of the catalyst thing, I do agree with. I do think that this wasn't just like, you know, the change itself was the thing that was the only thing that people were annoyed about. I've seen a lot of people annoyed for many years when it comes to War Thunder, when it comes to general economic principles. There are members of the community, especially CCs and especially just people who make specific posts on either Reddit or forums who have farmed this hatred and, farmed the negativity. This is the same that happens in every single game, which it sucks, but it is kind of how it is, right? You can't really change anything to do with that. And then the next one. A vocal minority who are upset that the vote didn't go their way. Bud, forgive me for being blunt, but are you high? The backlash to all of this has been the most uniting event to happen to the War Thunder community since I started playing. Okay. The level of unanimity to this community currently has in its outrage over the game's progression being gimped and monetized to such an insane level is unprecedented. I generally don't know where in the world you are coming from with this post, but you've really missed the mark. And saying, I don't care because this doesn't affect me, is about as head-inserted in-ass of a reaction as I've seen outside of Gaijin. Once again, I'm just going to go for what I just said previously, right? And once again, I know people are not happy with it because generally it's like saying to somebody's face, like, no, you're just wrong. And no one's going to like that, but it's true. So it's just how it is. It's like dealing with anything in life, right? I do care about it. I just don't care about it in the same way that everybody else does. in like the way that it's portrayed, right, by the people who are very loud. I don't look at individual vehicles and their repair costs and their rewards and all of that. I never have. The way that I personally play the game and the way that a lot of people I know play the game, looking at individual instances in the game is pretty much pointless. Because they play multiple vehicles all the time, moving around different tech trees and trying different things. My issue that I actually have with the economy is not from an individual basis. The issue I have with the economy, of War Thunder's economy, is simple. If you are a person who is looking to get a bunch of different experiences, a bunch of different things going at once, so let's say, you know, playing Israel, playing France, playing Britain, and you want to like do all of that, then it's pretty much impossible to get to a level where at least I'm at, and you know, a bunch of people I know, where you have most of the tech trees, researched, and all of this stuff at the same time. So it's just the simple fact that I think, as always, like most people bark up the wrong tree because they're very focused on their own individual like parts of the game and not focused on the overall picture. And I wish at some point we could actually start discussing that instead of just getting annoyed, creating Discords, creating new Reddits, and everything falling apart after a week because everything just becomes very cringy. And you don't actually have proper discussions about these things, which sucks. TLDR should be TLDW, but sure. This is text saying to Gaijin, if you want to implement economy changes, just do it and then keep silent because the players are too stupid to notice that they're screwed. He says it himself. Now, I put this in for a very interesting reason, okay? And I was wondering if it would get caught up upon. So, one of the interesting things we talked about in the video was messaging, and how messaging is very important in the way that you put things through. And we use these like 3 separate things as showing how there are 3 separate ways, or way more separate ways, but 3 separate ways that they have done to put forward basically the same point over and over again. And one of them they reacted very powerfully to because it was a groveling one, which is this one. This one people reacted negatively to because it was very close to the event, and also said stuff like, sorry, you just didn't understand what's going on. And then also they did this one, which nobody, like the average person, doesn't care about because they don't care about the business behind Gaijin, right? So we talked about this in it. So what I did in the video is I talked about how Gaijin, if you were doing it from their specific like point, this is how you would approach it if this is the type of backlash that you deal with. Now here comes the fun point, and this is the issue I've had for years, and I even said it in the video multiple times. There is something that has to be said and has to be understood about how companies and individuals react to things. Just because I say a company should do something for their benefit does not mean that I agree with that thing on a personal level. And this point, this idea, has been the crux of everything when it comes to when I talk about stuff. I make it very clear whose point of view that I'm talking from, but because of how the internet works, and because if you make a video on something on your channel, everybody thinks it is coming from your brain and your opinions about how things should go. Meaning that it's an I think they should have done this. Or is it, or, you know, I think I should do this. No. What is described there is the optimal thing to do from a PR point of view. Does that mean it's the correct thing and the right thing from the player's point of view and from my point of view? No. That is something that will never be understood, and it will be a hill that I will die on when it comes to these things. Because that's how general conversations work, okay? And also, decide for yourself if the CC is on Gaijin's side or the player's side. There aren't just 2 sides to this. There never has been and never will be. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just on the side of how I see these things. There has been plenty of times where I bashed Gaijin. The Heat FS changes. When they tried to bring in, the modifications. The premium modifications. I was one of the only people to actually make a video on that. How about the fact that Naval still doesn't have reduced parts and FPE? I've talked about how certain maps are very poorly designed. Berlin is an incredibly badly designed map, and so is Karelia from basically the start of the game. I've talked about the issues with larger maps, with smaller maps, depending on what VR you're at. I've talked about the biggest issue I see in War Thunder, which is the stock to spaded experience, how there are some vehicles which are just completely useless. I've talked about how it would be really nice to have like a BR manipulator, depending on what modifications you have. The problem is you just don't listen. Instead, what you do is you take snippets out of context of what I say, out of a 40 to an hour thing, and just go, okay, this is what he thinks. And then you just get a bunch of people riled up about it because they don't think, and they just look at snippets and go, this must be all that this is about. It happens every single day to a bunch of different people, all the time. And I'm not stopping. I'm not ever going to stop doing this. Because it's so silly. The whole thing is so silly, and it means that you have a bunch of people who aren't allowed to say what they think. Because they're just going to get bombarded by just crazy people who just never shut up. It's just how it is, every time. And I'd rather everybody gets to talk. Never seen someone so detached from the experience of the average War Thunder player. Try making a new account and see how long it takes you to get to jets. Don't buy premium and only play 2-3 hours max a day, since most of us has jobs and studies and whatnot. I do have a job. I have a full-time job. I work very hard. I have done for many years. I also have a really nice missus who affords me time to do other things. My life balance right now is very good. I've been, working out a lot. I've been eating right. I feel really nice. The last 2 years and how I've set everything up has been fantastic. The online stuff is not my job. The online stuff is a hobby. It's nice to do these extra things to have a bit of fun with. That's why, at least from my point of view, I'm not attached to the monetization side of this, which means that my opinion isn't tainted by that stuff, right? I don't need to lie to try and get views. I don't need to obfuscate the truth, or I don't need to change my opinions. I can just do what I do. Because it's freeing to have other incomes. It's freeing to not worry about ad revenue or, other revenues. Because you can just get an actual job. So my life balance has been the same for about 5 or 6 years. I just do a lot of stuff. I don't know how else to put it. If you want a good person to look out for this, there's a guy called I Will Dominate, and he is a full-time streamer and content creator and all of that stuff. And he does League of Legends, but every day he literally wakes up at 3 a.m. and doesn't go to bed, or sleeps partly through the day, maybe 2 or 3 hours at a time, and then covers everything. He does so much content, it's nuts. He covers 3 or 4 different regions, 3 or 4 different sets of teams, and he's doing all of these things just by himself. It's crazy the amount of effort that some people can go to and put in to be able to do stuff. Video making is super easy. You turn up, you put on a mic, and you talk, and then put gameplay on it. And then maybe a bit of editing here and there. It's really not that hard to do, right? It just takes time, right? But at the same time, when it comes to starting an account again, yeah, I could do that, but it's against Gaijin terms of service, which is why I haven't done it. And it kind of sucks, because I wish I could, but I'll show you. Where is the ULA? Does anybody know where the ULA is? Let's see. Because is it here maybe? No. Partnership, game maybe. Suppose I could just have a look. War Thunder, EULA. Alright, so... Alright, so it's not this one. Is it this one? Yeah, there we go. So on the Gaijin.net terms of service, if you can read here in account 3.4, the user shall not create multiple accounts. So it's actually against the TOS to have multiple accounts. So I can't do it. Even if I wanted to, it's against the rules of the game. And just because nobody else cares about the rules, and nobody else seems to bother about them, doesn't mean that, doesn't mean that that I don't follow the rules. I'm basically one of the only people who does follow the rules when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, is how it is. As a sim player, I don't agree with your general opinion on the game's economy. However, I do appreciate the video on the different point of view. Well, after looking at sim, especially aviation, I do understand people's criticisms of it. I think it's fair. The sim side of things is really rough for the general. The sim side of things is really rough in terms of economy, and I don't think that's going to change. Just because of how the whole creation of rooms works, how the whole botting stuff works. But maybe it can get better. I don't know. But it is part of it that I do agree with. I just wish that once the botting issue is sorted, then the economy stuff can be sorted, Usually you have really good analysis. It's a shame that you decide to focus on the chaos trolls instead of the disenfranchised players who have grievances with the way War Thunder has been going, and the very real issues with the game that could easily be fixed by a few reversions and patches. Yeah, sure. The issue is, as always with any social movement, especially one which is as disorganized as any that happens in War Thunder, is the lines blur very aggressively between these different things. You could just ask Gaijin for an account. No, as I said, it's literally against their TOS. I'm not breaking their TOS. It's as simple as that. But I'm not giving them any reason to just get rid of my account or whatever, and no one else should do it. Usually you should follow rules when it comes to this stuff. So yeah, the issue is the lines are very much blurred between the two sets. And the actual solutions given from people who are supposedly the ones who are seen as the standard ones don't address the issues that are the actual problems. One of the biggest problems that I think happens a lot in War Thunder is people look at the surface level issue. So in this case, it's the numbers behind the repair costs and the rewards. And what ends up happening is when you have a look at those numbers, they paint a specific picture about an individual vehicle. Let's say, I don't know, just to give an example, right? So let's say China. Is there one with a high repair cost? 10,000, 15. Yeah, so let's say I'm playing my J7E. So it's not fully spaded, but it's getting there, right? And the vehicle itself has a pretty high repair cost. It's 17,000 right now. It's going to get higher with the more modifications, and the rewards on it are not great. They're really not that good, right? So that's fair. You have a look at those, and you're like, shit, how am I going to make money? So then I have a look at this, and then I realize that I've only died 14 times in 39 games, and I have 80 kills in it from stock, right? So from stock and a 67% win rate. So that means I'm only dying maybe a third of the time, and I've only paid for 4 repair costs in 30 battles. So I've made 370 KSL with the vehicle, right? Okay. and I've died 4 times with having to pay for repair costs. So let's say it's 20k, right? So that's 80k. So at the end of the day, with that plus the modifications and everything, I'm still positive money at the moment in the J7E. And that's something that's always forgotten about. You don't die in every battle you play. And I wish that was something that was kind of talked about. Now I understand, blah, 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 above average player, blah, 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 has a bank of SL so doesn't have to worry about anything, blah, 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 whatever, right? I get the whole thing. But you've also got to understand is that people talk from their own perspectives. And if anybody is talking from other people's perspectives and putting words in their mouth, then they're charlatans. That's how this stuff works, and always will. If you ever hear somebody talking about how we or our or any collective things, they're charlatans because they don't know what they're talking about. Which is when people go, all the players are annoyed. Well, I'm not, and I'm a player. Do you see how this works? It's a bad setup. So there are more factors to a lot of these different things, right? There's not just like a simple number big bad, right? And that's the problem that I have, right? That's the problem that I have with the whole conversation. There's a lot more deeper things to it. Like in ground, if you have like 5 vehicles in a lineup, one of them is crazy expensive, but 4 are super cheap. Is that something that affects the way that you play or the effectiveness of the vehicles or how they all sit in, right? How does it all work at the end of the day? And that's just kind of how it goes, right? My analysis doesn't really change. Like my foundation doesn't change when it comes to economical stuff. It's just we have like a time right now where it's a very divisive topic, and that's fine, but it is always going to be. If you want my personal opinion on the economy stuff, would it nice for it to be better? Yeah, of course it would be nice. As I said before, we're here for all the good, and we're not here for all the bad, right? But that's not a very useful take, is it? And it's not a very like good one because it doesn't mean anything. Of course, it's nice to get more free stuff, you know. Let's see. I mostly agree with what you're saying, but also feel like you're either missing a large part or just ignoring it. Spend a good amount of money on the game, mostly because I can't spare the time it takes to get through it. My issue is that it will literally take me over a month to grind out just one 9.0 tank, and then I won't be able to afford it with my month of grinding. And we'll have to pay SL. I don't have an issue with just one patch, I just have an issue with the fact that I literally have pay to play. I understand that things must be near impossible to attain in free-to-play games. Not near. But progressing War Thunder right now is literally impossible without making money or being insanely good at the game. Maybe you don't feel this effect because you've completed the game already, but as someone currently trying to progress, I would like my tanks to take less than 15 hours to unlock each, and then an extra $20 to actually use it because I'm out of SL. Big fan of yours and will continue to be, but I just feel like you addressed something that nobody's actually complaining about. I mean, fair. Like, I will actually agree that the video that I made here was targeted basically at Gaijin to say you done screwed up, like that, which it seems to be. You know, I don't know. I didn't realize that was a controversial opinion to basically say Gaijin handled everything horribly in this sense. Like, I don't know. It seems kind of crazy to me. That is, as I said, that is a part of the game which does, at least economically, needs to have a look at. But I've always wondered, when it comes to like stuff like that, wouldn't it be interesting to try other methods as well? So, you know, with the whole like grinding thing. They could offer discounts from the Warbond shop to be able to purchase tech tree vehicles. They could also have a box for modifications for vehicles. So let's say, I don't know, you just unlocked like a new high tier vehicle and you want to unlock a modification, but you don't want to play it, so you pay some Warbonds towards it. You know, stuff like that could happen. I also, like, the way that I approach the game is not to like reach top tier, right? Like that's not really my goal and never was playing the game. Mine was just to kind of enjoy playing like different vehicles and get different, different stuff like that, right? So I understand from that perspective the economy's shot, which is why it would be nice for it to be changed. I just don't know how you change it in a way that would make it not just completely broken for like people like me, right? Or just many others who are similar. But maybe that's fine. Maybe that's okay to do at the end of the day. Yeah, I think when you have a look at the charts and the amount of vehicles that they've added and the amount of RP that's required to grind them out, it has increased over time. So it would be nice if that was normalized and reduced. They were trying to do it a little bit in the last update with the 1,250,000 amount of RP removed, but obviously that didn't go through. Maybe they can do a bigger one, so it can like bring it back to normal where it was like 3 or 4 years ago. That's something that I think. That's something that I think of, which would be, a decent idea. At the end of the day, I think that would be a good idea. Like the other thing is the whole like grinding one tech tree thing, and that does need to be addressed. Like one of the reasons why, at least for me, like I feel like I have a decent amount of SL and always have, is because I've moved around a lot in different tech trees, playing not just off meta stuff but on meta stuff, and just kind of dodged about the place. Whereas if you're just grinding one tree, especially in ground, like ground is the game mode which just hemorrhages SL if you let it, if you're grinding through it. So yeah, that's also something. I wonder how you do that. Maybe you could give bonuses for people like starting new tech trees, or maybe you could give bonuses for people like, let's say you ground like to a certain point in like ground. Maybe you could get like bonuses to grind to that point in aviation or something. So that would be pretty nice. I think that would be kind of a good idea at the end at the end of the day. Like just something weird. I remember so much when last year Gaijin sent me a form in the email to vote for the future of the game's economy. I remember that day so well. Had a day like this? Well, Gaijin asked Playerbase about what should be done about the... What is this guy going on about? I'm just gonna move on from this one. This guy just looks like he's complaining about stuff. But this is true. Spending time with family is more important than playing Paint Thunder. Very true. Like it, but I don't know. I don't know what to take out of that one. I apologize if there was a point. I mostly agree with your point, but I think for players like us that have played for a long time should understand that the economy is really not good for new players. For me and you, we have unlocked a lot of vehicles, and we play many different things in different modes and ranks, so SL and RP isn't really a big deal anymore, especially for you, that your objectives are to fully unlock and spade everything, not rush to top tier like many new players are trying to do. But if you're a new player trying to get to the cool top tier stuff, it is really difficult even when the new players are willing to pay, because Gaijin's adding more and more top tiers at a faster and faster rate, but the earnings increase can't keep up. Basically, the roads are getting longer and longer, but you can't walk any faster. It may be fine for players that are already standing 5 meters behind the finish line, but not for ones who are starting. For example, XXX. Yeah, he's right. And that is it. He's hit the nail on the head right there. This is the comment that should be listened to. Nothing else. He's completely right in everything he says here. From my experience, from where I'm from, the economy changes don't affect anything I do, or pretty much anybody who's like at where I am. But if you have a new player and their mindset is to get to top tier, especially as quick as possible, they are going to have a really bad time. Which is why my opinion towards these things is to try and help people understand that grinding just to top tier and just doing that should not be the goal. Because it's not. If that was the goal, you would just play Italy. Everybody would just play Italy. You know? Because it's the easiest to grind through. But obviously that's not the goal for people. What you should do is you should modify your expectations, which is what you have to do with pretty much every free-to-play game. Which is why, like, if you, like, basically do, like, the rank 1 to 3 and then like grind through each of the tech trees, or maybe even just like 3, 4, or 5 of them or whatever, right? Like that's generally all right. And then you can start focusing on like dailies. You can start focusing on specials. You can start doing battle pass stuff. You can start getting involved in the events, pages of history, decals. Like there's everything that you can give a go at, right? You know? So my issue is not that like fully that the economy is bad, even though there are issues with it. The major issue that I have with it is the mindset of people going into it, which I've never understood. I've never understood why that's the case. You know? All I know for sure is I used to play War Thunder 20 plus hours a week for over 2 years. Yes, I'd occasionally have to grind a cell to get a new shiny, but most of the time I had no problem making enough a cell to finish the module research of the vehicles that I didn't just hate and still have enough to buy the next vehicle and finish researching. In the last year or so, it's gone to the point that I have to grind just to break even on a cell. Shouldn't have to grind if I'm performing better than 1-to-1 KD and generally have more wins than losses. It's not fun anymore. I'm barely playing once a week in 6 or so. I'll probably let my premium lapse when it runs out. They turn the game into a work. I have a job that pays me decently. I'm not going to pay Gaijin to work. I mean, fair enough, yeah. Yeah, people change. Times change. People have different, like, what's the word? People have different situations in life. That's good. Go enjoy other things. Go have fun. You know? I don't know what else to say. Like, over time, people's mindsets change and their lifestyle also changes. Nobody is stagnant in that regard. So if the way that you approach things changes, or if your like mentality changes towards things, that's okay. Just go enjoy yourself. It's a hobby, not work. You know? Simple as. I do agree that family comes first and foremost. I absolutely disagree with the rest of the video. As far as I understand, you explained that all this drama is about miscommunication. Well, Comrade Udensov's post, here we go, was oil to the fire. We're in agreement with this. Okay, so you don't whatever. The main problem is not that. Let us be real. The economy of War Thunder is abysmal, to say the least. They bait people into the game with shiny modern vehicles. Then guess what? You are not going to ever play with modern equipment as a free-to-play player unless maybe if you're in the top 1%. Isn't this bait and switch? I get it. You need to make money, and through the economy, they nudge players to buy premium time and premium vehicles. Thing is, they've gone way too far. I believe they want more money, so they squeeze their money press game economy more and more. The reality is that there is so much more people that are willing to put up with it. Gaijin's screwing their players for years, and now was the point when years of anger and frustration erupted. It is Gaijin's luck that Steam bailed them out. Okay. Regarding the negative reviews. Most of those reviews are fully legit, and Gaijin should bear the consequences of their actions. So please don't come with this miscommunication BS. As for myself, this is the last comment on this channel, unsubbed and disliked. Well, peace, brother. But the simple fact is, right, so how do we tackle this? Steam is not the largest platform that War Thunder players play on. The launcher is. This was confirmed many years ago. At the same time, over those years of Gaijin screwing the economy and screwing players and going after them, they've seen unprecedented levels of growth in the game. Over the last, 3 years, the game has exploded. Okay? Now, usually when companies are doing bad things or screwing up, usually on a mass level, like is kind of portrayed by people, stuff kind of goes down. That is not the case here. So they must be doing something. It's not right. So I wasn't putting it down to miscommunication. I was trying to make a simple point in the video, and maybe I didn't make it good enough. Maybe I could have made it better. miscommunication is not the issue here. The issue here is they were chasing a rabbit, and the rabbit kept getting away from them. They kept getting closer, and then they kept making noises. The noises were the posts, so the rabbit would keep going further and further away. So they did the reversion, and they apologized in the actual reversion post itself. Then they put out this, which people reacted to negatively. Then they put out this, which people really reacted negatively to. And then they put out this about 4 days later, which once again showed that they were still like caring. Not caring, but they were still worried about the response. So then it basically kept just putting fire on the issue over and over and over again. So miscommunication isn't the problem. It's just the fact the PR department decided to take a nap over a week's period and handle this in the worst way possible. Which is me saying Gaijin done goofed many times over. Which for some reason has just missed people's minds. Like, I don't know how else to say it, you know? It's not about miscommunication. It's showing that they screwed up over and over and over again, and how you can write basically the same posts with different words, which mean exactly the same thing 4 days apart, and the reaction to them is completely 180 from each other, even though they say the same thing. That's the thing that's nuts to me. And it shows that they screwed up, and also shows that wording is very important to some people. So yeah, like your different point of view as always, but I have to agree with players that want the changes. Killing progress for free-to-play players is basically stagnating the game in the long run. Free-to-play games need free players for paying players to play. Yes, this is very true. If let's say they're 80% are true, which I doubt, it's probably more 60-70. I don't know why they'd lie about it, but sure. Then imagine battles with only 20% of players on the servers only. Queue times and BR issues will be even more horrendous. Something like historical sim battles right at the beginning of War Thunder, when often you cannot find a game since the lack of players. Yeah, I agree. Even realistic. You could sit there for 15 minutes and not find a game. And nerfing premium rewards was probably the worst idea someone could come up with. Yep, that's the thing that kind of broke the straw of a lot of people. Currently, premium players have a grind speed and rewards almost similar to free-to-play players from a few years ago. That's not true at all. It was fine back then when we got a few hundreds of vehicles. But now, when we got over 2k, it's way too slow and the economy's not set up. Unless you're talking about like 2013, when you had like the level system, then fair enough. But like, that's 10 years ago, man. Like, we got to stop looking at like stuff from 2013. Because like, even like when the M60 was released, the M60 was like 380 or 400,000 RP. Like, stuff like that hasn't changed. The overall total amount of RP required has changed and it needs to be lowered. But we've got to stop looking at it from that point of view. The other thing is, like, fair enough about if 80% of the players leave, right? But the thing is, they're just not. You know? They're just not. Like, if that was a legitimate thing, right? If that was a legitimate thing, then I would agree. But it isn't happening. The boycott didn't work. Nobody stopped playing. The standard sorry, not nobody stopped playing, but a very small amount of people stopped playing. But the standard curve that War Thunder goes through every year is happening over and over and over again. So yes, if players start leaving en masse, then it might be worth starting to address some of these things. But they're not. So I don't know. The player votes were to balance economy in a different way, not for Gaijin to obliterate RP and SL gains and implement rip-off repair costs. You blame this vocal minority of players. You had 100. Yep, we've already gone through this. 100k negative Steam reviews in 4 days suggests maybe they aren't the vocal minority and they're actually representing the average player experience. Most people don't have 8 hours plus a day to grind or get handouts from Gaijin, blah, blah, blah. Far too many content creators are incredibly additive, blah, 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 right? So it's the standard thing we've seen before. Okay, 100k negative Steam reviews, we've already talked about this. Could be pre-existing players, could be... it literally people who don't play the game anymore. And then the other thing as well is it isn't the majority. The people who play like War Thunder on Steam are not the majority of players. This has been said many times in many articles by Gaijin and by others. Right? It's just how it is. Okay? Like, most people don't have 8 hours plus to grind a day or get handouts. Yeah, you're right. True. The handouts thing, pretty much everybody can get access to. It's available for everyone. You just got to make videos. It's pretty easy to do. But the 8 hours plus a day, I mean, fair enough. But I also don't grind 8 hours plus a day. So I don't know. I don't know what you want from me. The other thing as well is players voted to balance the economy based around rank and BR and all of that stuff, and also country instead of their usefulness, which meant that certain vehicles were going to go up in repair cost and also up in reward multipliers, and some vehicles were going to go down in repair cost and down in multipliers to bring stuff on an equal level. That was the whole point of it. That there was 2 votes. That was one of them. Okay. Like even if you have a look at like the last set of economy changes they were bringing in, there was a bunch of vehicles that were actually increasing when it came to their modifiers. Right? Like we did a video on them, So like it isn't just everything's going down. I don't know why everybody's just looking at like one part of the pie and just deciding that the other parts just don't exist. Gaijin has no grief since their only grief is greed. I like that. We should put it on a poster. Democracy and the choice Gaijin gave us last year. Really, we wanted a better economy and we got the choice between bad and worse, that was all. Right, okay. Sure. I mean, I don't know what else to put. But it seems like people's belief when it came to like the economy changes. Once again, we're here for all the good and we're not here for all the bad. So I don't know how else to put it. Every time Gaijin introduces a new vehicle into game, the RP gain for every vehicle in that specific tech tree needs to be adjusted to account for the increase in the grind. Or they could just lower the RP costs of vehicles around it, which is what they do. The problem is they don't do it instantly. They do it over a period of time, which it would be nice if they did it instantly. I understand why they don't. But it's just annoying, It would be nice if they also put in vehicles at their proper BRs, or at least, whoever decides to put in certain vehicles at certain BRs needs to have their head checked. But you know how it is. You leave War Thunder for a bit, and your dad comes back with the milk confirmed. I mean, my father's been over for like 3 weeks, and he's gone back now. It was really nice spending time with him, especially after a long time. So Gaijin finally does the right thing, acknowledges their mistakes and promises changes. It's not only not good enough, it shouldn't be happening in the first place. I don't think you realize how out of touch you are with the majority of the player base. Here we go again. Just because you can play the game 12 hours a day, we're up from 8, so we're at 12 hours now, and see no issues with the current system, doesn't mean there are no issues with the current system, since you're literally the 0.001%. To not have the self-awareness to realize this yourself is astonishing. I'm just waiting to see this comment section either swept up or the video deleted to hide this epically bad take. The video won't be deleted, none of the comments will be deleted either. Crazy, isn't it? I can deal with criticism. Weird. I don't play 12 hours a day. I don't play 8 hours a day. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Simple as. The other thing is, I've already said in this video that I'm commenting on, and also this video and the other video, there are issues with the economy. Don't know how many times I'm supposed to say this. But yeah. Just not the same ones that people think, or, you know, some people have brought up. The minority got pissy. Yeah, the minority, which has led to War Thunder have the biggest Steam rating drop and causing the actual mainstream media to report on the horrible economy, which the majority of players have finally had enough of. Right. We've been through this over and over again. Not really interested in going through it again. Let's see what the mainstream media is reporting on today. So we have Erdogan, Zelensky, Biden and McCarthy intensive deal. How about we go to here? Let's see. Willoughby hurt over Schofield's lies on affair. ITV investigated rumours of Schofield relationship. Schofield admits lying about affair with colleague. French murder mystery wins Cannes top film prize. Celine Dion cancels entire tour over poor health. Actors lose Romeo and Juliet nude scene lawsuit. Wow, really interesting. How about the stories? Let's see. The 7-day-a-week life of a maid in Qatar. My dream holiday was a $30,000 scam. Deep faked. They put my face on a porn video. TikTok profits from live streams of families begging. Claims I had sexomnia destroyed my rape case. Only 1% of disability hate crimes result in a charge. I refused to get out of the car unless they took me home. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a lot of publications which print crap all the time. You know, they do it for attention. If you're literally one of those people who thinks mainstream media covering something means that it's important, Jesus, man. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, we talked about the minority stuff. You bring up wargaming and the free-to-play model, try to explain it to us like we're for. Yet the company you mentioned, Game, World of Tanks, and World of Warships, you can research their top tier in plus or minus 30 days. Now compare that to War Thunder, which I've been playing since 2015. I've taken 3 years to reach rank 6 in Russian ground. Let's see. Where's the video? The grind video that I'm trying to think of. Can I find it anywhere? I don't know where it's gone actually. But there was like a oh, here we go. How I got top tier in 38 hours without sleeping. So this is from a guy called Trepcast. This was 4 months ago. So this was this year, okay? Just to kind of show you that it does exist. So this guy got a new account. Oh, sorry. Double ads always gets me. So this guy right here, he literally grinded through the whole of the Italian tech tree in aviation in 38 hours with a new account without nothing grinded, okay? So he just bought the F104 TAF, right? And then just played it with premium for 38 hours without sleeping for some reason. And he even had... He's also a console pleb. But he literally even had enough SL to buy the last vehicle. Okay? So, yeah. Yeah, I'll link it in the chat. There you go. There you go. So, yeah. I don't know what to say. So, different people have different grind amounts, right? Okay. This guy literally did it with... Look, he literally did it with Japan as well. like 29 hours going, and that's a pretty big old tech tree, that one. So this guy can do it in the year of 2023 after all the different economy changes, right? It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Just kind of bomb stuff. So, yeah, it can be done. It's about the place. Yeah, I don't know. Like when the Israeli tech tree came out, it took me like a month to grind through it, I think, and that was like on and off, you know. But yeah, let's see. I grinded out the whole German and Japanese aircraft tree, which shows a big difference in progression between air and ground vehicles in the exact same game. The literal issues everyone is talking about, but you keep ignoring. I'm not ignoring them. Like I've said many times that it takes way longer to research ground than it does air. And that kind of sucks. I don't know why it's the case. I've talked about it many times, you know. Oh no, the literal heads of Gaijin responding to their player base too honestly. That's not what they're supposed to happen. How do you know they're being honest? How do you know they're not just placating you? Ah, see. That's the thing, isn't it? So this company that you distrust, that you think creates a game to lie to you constantly and basically force you to play stuff in a specific way. But this time they're telling the truth. You see the problem with this mindset? It doesn't work. Because it's like the whole, you know, oh well, they have to be they have to be dumb enough to put in these economy changes to piss everybody off, and then they have to be clever enough to psyop it to a point where, you know, you start changing the narrative so it doesn't matter, right? It can't be like both things. Like it's only got to be one. Who the hell brought up politics into this? We're talking about War Thunder's economy and progression system and the lack of attention paid to it. You bring up many review bomb them because they're Russian. Another face bomb. It wasn't. I mean, you can see the sources in the video. There's. Which one was it actually? Let's see. Oh, I didn't put it in. God damn it. I think I put it in the other video though. But there was a Reddit thread which was literally saying like this is how they act because they're Russian, and oh Jesus. Let's see. This is the problem with actually putting sources in things. There's more billions of them. Luckily, I have better internet nowadays, so I can kind of go through it. Ah, here we go. Literally, this. Who's bringing politics into this? Community members. So, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Who's bringing politics into this? I don't know. Who's doing it? It's not politics, anyway. Let's see. Where are we again? And there we witness the cherry on the top, the literal mirror for you to look at. Listen back to this in this instance, for you to realize how absolutely out of touch you are. Reality. The War Thunder player base. Are those two separate things? The whole issue that got the community fired up was the complete lack of transparency. So here comes Genius Tech thinking a British accent will help curve his IQ, saying no, that's not what players want. They really want no transparency at all. No, the reason why everybody got super pissed was because they were open with everything, and they started placating people who already hate the game. Like that's just the setup, right? Where do I find the thing? They actually went through 1 billion different economy changes, and, you know, modifying them and all of this. They wrote answers, they did a special form, they did all of these different things. They were fully transparent about everything, and they also just couldn't shut up about everything. Like, they just kept going over and over and over again. They showed you everything, right? How everything was going to work. They even showed, like, the positives, they showed the negatives, they showed, you know, they even did, like, different questions that people were talking about and all this stuff. It didn't matter. It just made it all worse. Literally. The only logical conclusion I can come to is that since you spent the last week or two with your father, you literally had zero idea what people actually had an issue with. And just literally headcanoned what you assume people's problems with the game were based on Gaijin's posts, since you probably just quickly scanned through them. No, reading is a very good skill, and also at the same time, even if I'm not there at the time of things happening, I can use my eyes. I don't know how else to put it. There's a lot of people who send me stuff all the time to basically basically, what's the word? Like keep me in the loop when it comes to stuff. It's actually quite nice, actually. So it's kind of as simple as that. But yeah, actually amazing how consistent you are with having shit takes. It's weird how my takes are always constantly wrong, while the game just keeps growing and growing and growing. While all of those other CCs who keep talking about how the game is shit and how everything's falling apart seem to just completely miss the ball when it comes to the popularity of the game. Crazy, right? Weird. Seems a real issue of the economy system of War Thunder is the economy system of Gaijin Entertainment. Because from my point of view, what all Gaijin did to War Thunder is to make every player to pay Gaijin for everything. They tried really hard to squeeze the last drop of water from a sponge. I mean, not really. I mean, as I said, like, pretty much $40 a year gives you pretty much everything you need in War Thunder. You know? It's not a lot. If you play something, let's say, I don't know, let's say 10 hours a week. Or, you know, so let's say you play on the weekends, so that's 6 hours, right? 6 hours, so 2 hours each day on the weekends. Okay, how many weekends is there? There's 52 weeks in a year, right? So 52 times 18, so that's 936. So 936 hours if you play 6 hours a week. That is, so how much per book are you getting, basically? So each hour, if you buy the premium at 50% off, is worth 4 cents. That's it. 4 cents per hour. That's how much if you buy like the $40 premium a year. That's if you play only 6 hours a week, which is not too much, you know? Just to put it in perspective. These past videos about the economy have made it seem like you care more about the company than the game itself. I wasn't sure whether you were addressing the trolls as the minority or the large part of the community that actually wants good change to happen. As a player that actually still has to play the game to progress, where I don't have hundreds of thousands of GE, the economy needs change, and definitely not negative change. I never use GE for research. I grind everything out normally. We addressed this at the start, so I don't need to go through it again. I am addressing the trolls, but also I'm basically saying to, let's say, the majority of the minority, we need to come up with like better things. Like the problem is there's a mix here, and the mix is kind of screwed. So that's pretty much how I see that stuff. So yeah. And the other thing about it is, once again, it's the majority of people just don't care about this stuff. They just play the game. I'm not a shill proceeds to make whatever this video was. Yeah, a video basically bashing Gaijin, saying they did everything wrong. Very much shill behavior, in my opinion. That's exactly what somebody who's a shill would do. They would turn around to the people they're supposed to shill for and go, you are fucking up really badly. And you are doing this horribly. You are literally doing everything wrong. That's what shills do. You know, when like people are like brand ambassadors for Nike or Pepsi or, you know, any of these other companies, and they just turn around and go like to Nike, oh, those sweatshops you're using, yeah, that's pretty bad. You need to stop that, otherwise I'm gonna walk. You know what Nike does? They just cut that person, right? It's weird. I feel like I live in like alternate realities when it comes to this stuff. Now Gaijin is now adding an absolute batshit insane top-tier Russian CAS aircraft as well. Well, the Su-25T and the Su-39? Nah. I mean, it has the Vickers missiles, but it's probably better just to play the heli. I don't know. We'll see how it does. Feels like someone new was put in charge of doing the PR. The amount of misplays definitely feel way too much for it to be a standard PR team. Yeah, it does. Yeah. TLDR, Gaijin should have ignored the players, I think. No. No. If that's what you've taken away from that, then you're dumber than a box of rocks. What an absolutely smooth brain take. Really gunning for that worst War Thunder CC position. No, not really. I pretty much just say what I feel about these things. Like the patterns that I see. And also generally what goes on. And we're already seeing right now the turnaround of people's opinions about these things. Like even on the birthplace of it, right? Like you can already see people gunning against the guys who were asking for the changes. Where is it? So you have the level of Gaijin simming on here in the forums, blah blah blah. And then you have this, which is people going after people on the boycott. Then you have, well, hi. And then, what's the other stuff? Where was it? So everyone was all for the boycott before the 26th, but now it was the worst idea ever. Yep. And then there was another one. Biggest cope in War Thunder history. We covered this in the last video. That was quite funny. It was a good try, yeah. So people are just memeing on it, right? Like, it's just how it is, you know? Like, it's just how you go for it, right? Like, the turn starts. I played War Thunder since open beta pretty much every day. That's more than me. It was a fun game with a cool community. Over the years, spent no end of cash and time, including gold and veteran decal. Unfortunately, the game got so much premium vehicles orientated. Back in the days, one premium in the match was the norm. When I stopped playing on the 24th of February last year, it was not uncommon to see fully premium lineups. Take it as you want. I mean, that's fair. There has been an increase in premiums, but not just premiums, but event vehicles and stuff like that, right? Like, there's a lot of my lineups now, like the 5.7 Chinese one, which relies on the M64, which isn't open to all players. And I wish vehicles like that were open to everybody. I think it's kind of right to have that open. Otherwise, you know, you end up in a situation where you have haves and have-nots, which absolutely sucks. And I wish that wasn't the case. I'm hoping that in the future, when it comes to like, the whole premium stuff, that there is a push towards getting people into full lineups, because that is obviously one of the biggest issues. I don't really know how you solve that. I'll have a think about it, because it's definitely true. Like in certain areas of the game, like in the areas of ground specifically, like the high tier stuff, like it's nuked, and it has been nuked for a very long time. But that's also a small part of the game. Where if you have a look at a lot of the parts of the game, they're not just like nuked by premiums. Glad you went to have time with the family. Thanks for the content. Oh, it's all good. It was fun, you know, hanging out with the father, discussing things. You know, and everybody always talks about the interconnectivity nowadays, but you know, actually seeing people in the flesh is still so much better than than talking to people through screens. Spoke like a true Reddit moderator. Yep, fair enough, whatever. How about you stop telling them they can make it worse just as long as they don't tell us, because we're too stupid to notice? No, I won't. The simple fact is, we'll talk about this many times. So, um, business decisions are separate to personal decisions, which are separate to each people's individual positions and decisions. So it's like when you get somebody who is a an analyst, or you get somebody who is an expert in a field, right? And then you bring them in to get an opinion on how to do something. So they're not necessarily saying to do like what they think is the best thing to do. They're saying what is the correct thing to do for that instant, because there might be other external factors that are around the place, right? Like that's something that really has to be kind of pushed through as always. Just because you're recommending a certain ploy or a certain idea for people to go through, that doesn't mean it's the morally right or correct thing from the individual's point of view. That's something that we do need to kind of solve when it comes to these conversations. My problem still as an average player 4 years ago started. I struggled to make progress with premium account plus tank. From 5 out of 2 games straight away I get 1 to 2 spawn killed by bombs, drones, etc. My problem, I have no time to play every day 8 hours, and it's really annoying paying a lot and doing close to 0 progress. That is an issue. That is a problem. I don't know how else to really talk about that. Maybe try the PvE stuff, like the assault PvE stuff. Maybe try different game modes. Maybe try different positions and all of that stuff. I think that's usually the best idea. Family is definitely important. That's true. Let's see. Smash. First of all, I think you're one of the best Wolfen CCs out there. Devotion, treating all of the stuff that's going on around the game and even Enlisted too. Don't change that, even if this video I'm not really agreeing with. You're honest with your points of view, and I like that a lot. But there is something I can't understand with the video. It sounds like you're minimizing the impact of all the economy changes, updates that has been made to the game, and a little bit before the first round of DevServer videos. You were making a video complaining about the gaming economy and the unfolding of many tech tree vehicles. This video was followed by another one, which you were pretty much analyzing the fact that the economy changes were reversed, and that was a good thing. And then there is this video, where you take the complete opposite opinion. Does your point of view change between the beginning of the drama and now? Or is there something we didn't understand? From what I've seen by the community I play with, the social media, the game itself, Steam, YouTube, there's a very big part of the player base are just tired of those economy changes. Maybe not the majority, but a non-negligible part still. Right, fair enough. So let's go through them, right? Just to kind of show what's going on. Where are we at? Here we go. So we had this one, which was Today We Resist, which was basically... I was kind of bored on that day. So I decided to make the whole like Churchill speech thing, and then after doing the Churchill speech thing later on, discuss the economy changes and how they weren't actually that big. But yeah, so there was that. And then we did the People Have Spoken one, because the people spoke and they changed it. And then obviously I took the break because of the father stuff. So like this one, it was like a tongue-in-cheek, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your feet. The whole carry on thing, and then, going into the actual economy changes like properly. And then this one was analyzing it and going through it and saying, yeah, if people aren't happy with this stuff, then they should be modified, which I still believe. And then when we get to these videos, so the 3 stages of Gaijin grief and the Great War Thunder boycott. So this video is just talking about how Gaijin screwed up over and over and over again with not just the decisions they're making, but also the main one was the messaging of what they were doing. Right? So these two videos. So this first one was the start of it was the tongue-in-cheek thing, just having a bit of fun with a bit of humor. And then And then also, I wanted to see how many people would actually watch the whole video. And then what we do is, and then afterwards we discuss the changes in the second half of the video. So we did literally 5 minutes and 5 minutes. And then this one was talking about how, you know, if people are mad, they should be listened to. And that was good. And then this one is just about how Gaijin screwed up. And this one is about when people take it too far and try and do more stuff than they're actually designed to, right? Or can do in a short period of time. Because many things, when it comes to boycotts or when it comes to unions and stuff, you can't just like do it like that, you know? Like you actually need proper planning, and you need to actually get the right people in the right positions, and none of that happened. So of course it was going to fall apart very quickly. That's one of the issues, that people think that everything has to be done short term to keep people's like interest going, but because you do that, you annihilate everything that's around. So that's pretty much like those videos, right? I can never tell whose side you're on. You say it's only a small number of the War Thunder community that doesn't like the changes happening, yet it's pretty evident from all the CCs and general player base that we have all had it with Gaijin, and them taking things away, and slowly making the game worse for us, and better for their pockets. But the free-to-play games like Warframe aren't as scummy as Gaijin are when it comes to monetization, and again, you say if didn't mention the changes, then no one would have known or cared. Yeah, pretty much. That comes off as you saying that doing so makes it all okay, as long as no one notices. What? No! No, it doesn't. Whatever. Again, watching your video, it's really hard to tell whose side you're on. I hope that doesn't come off as rude, but it's just a general feeling. I'm on nobody's side. I'm not, like, on the community side. I'm not on Gaijin's side. I'm not on anyone's. I'm just on what I think is right. Which is a pretty tough side to be on. Because what generally ends up happening is then everybody starts aiming their guns at you instead of other things, right? I disagree with Gaijin on many things and how they approach stuff. I've talked about many of them in the past. I disagree with how certain community members, especially certain CCs, go about trying to change things, because it never works, and also is money motivated, which means that it can never be pure. These are all issues, right? So, my main point is we don't live in a binary world where it's just you're either with us or against us, right? We don't live in like a propagandist world where it's like you're either left or right, or you're up or down, or you're for or against. That's not how this goes. There are some things which are good, there are some things which are bad. From both sides, and it's nice having a look at both. But the problem is, when you poke fun at both, you piss off both sides of bears. And that's what happens, and that's what happens all the time. I'm more interested in the whole truth of things, and the way that I see it, and my interpretation of things. I'm not really interested in the whole people seeing me as correct, or people going down and, going through and saying, yes, this is right, this is wrong, and all of that. I don't care about that. What I care about is just my general opinions on how things go. Oh, this is Gaijin's new PR guy. Great job explaining the obvious and simply adding, it was great back in the day. I mean, whoever the PR guy was who did this post, where is it? I can't find it actually. Was it this one? Yeah, whoever was the PR guy who did this post finally got it right. It only took like 4 or 5 different things. It's not money motivated, makes 4 videos on the topic, face spam intensifies. How much money do I make from those videos? Please let me know. We worked out actually how much I make per hour when it comes to everything that I do online. So that includes Patreon, Twitch stuff, YouTube stuff, everything put together. So each hour of content I put into it, it's $2 an hour. Canadian. $2 an hour. Before tax. So it's about $1 per hour because of my actual work stuff, right? So yeah, it's not money motivated. I could do much better things with my time. The minimum wage in my area is $15 an hour. Okay? So I'm under minimum wage by 80-90%. Okay? So no, it's not money motivated. If I turned all of this stuff off and either did more of my actual job in a freelance sense or just picked up a second job, I could make 5 to 6 times the amount of money that I make now. I do this because it balances my life out and it's fun. And that's good. Okay? Simple as. I love how he keeps mentioning this vote like it wasn't voting between eating shit and drinking piss. Well, it was voting between the old system and the new system, and people voted for the new system. I don't know. There was 2 separate votes. They decided 2 different things. I thought they were fine. I would have liked to see other. I would have liked to see other. I would have liked to see other things when it comes to the votes. But the major issues I saw is there was a lot of people who wanted the good and not the bad, which is just how it goes. Fockwolf D13 used to have 800 SL rewards when I bought it. Now it's 675. Well, that sucks. Did they also reduced its BR though, didn't they? If I remember. Yeah, it's always a tough time when they screw with premium vehicles because you're gonna have a lot of people who are annoyed at it. Well, in arcade it's 255. Jesus. Right. Let's put it in the proper game mode. 645. That sucks. Okay. Alright, back to it. Imagine a company destroying a product out of spite because of a slight pushback of a minority of people. Oh hey, hi Res, didn't see you there. Have you been working on your Pi Tribes Ascend lately? How's Bella Omega doing? I don't think High Res literally were destroyed out of spite. There have been companies that have nuked themselves out of spite, but mainly down to the CEO being a twat. Which obviously is why CEOs can be quite important. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure Hi-Res is doing pretty good, aren't they? Like just overall, like they got a bunch of different games going. They have a bunch of different stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, they're doing a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, bunch of different studios and things like that. I don't know. Enjoy time with family, dude? Agreed. Everybody should. If you have family that's still left, it's very important to spend time with them at the end of the day. Racism to arcade players. Nah. Didn't know he left. I thought his video's been coming out non-stop. Figured he'd already spoke his mind on the several times on Twitch and his channel before all this happened. I mean, kind of, yeah. But I wanted to address like the response because I didn't go through the response. One of the things to say about it is what's the word? So the way that I did the videos is I scheduled them. So they scheduled I scheduled all the videos through the week. So it made them a lot easier to deal with. So instead of getting like all the videos for 1 or 2 days, I just scheduled them across the board. So technically I was able to record all the videos on the Friday, but put them out over like the 5-day period, which made it easier for me. But then also it meant that you constantly got content, which I think, it seems like people like the dev server stuff, so it was generally a good idea. Main Gaijin shill at it again. I think the main Gaijin shills are the actual employees at the end of the day, but they never get brought up because they're not stupid enough to, like, they're not as stupid as me, so they don't comment on these things. Usually they just keep their mouth shut when it comes to certain stuff. Glad you got to spend time with your dad. Family is important, but I feel this video falls flat in key areas for all War Thunder players in your audience. I mean, fair enough. I don't know what to say about that. Things they changed over player Backlash in the past. Epic Sean blunder. You got a vehicle that could do lots of stuff. You want a free Abrams. They didn't really change anything. They literally made money out of it. They sold people a pack that people bought, and everyone went, "Oh, this is great! Isn't that hilarious?" No, they literally just stiffed you, like. But yeah, sure, why not? Like, it didn't change anything. High tier repair kit and fire extinguisher now have significantly less RP requirements to research, apart from naval. They even cashed in on the free Abrams meme. Yeah, exactly. They didn't implement premium extra fire extinguishers and repair kits. Yeah, that's true. They didn't implement wages and orders on a timer. Well, they kind of did, but yeah, not all of them. Sometimes if players make enough noise, they do react. Yeah, I know. What was the Sean blunder? So Sean, who used to be the guy who used to do the official streams, he actually runs his own YouTube channel, and it's really successful. It's just in Russian, so nobody knows about it. He made a comment which was basically targeted towards the fact that, what, you want a bunch of free shit? Like, you want free stuff all the time? Why not just give you a free Abrams? And the idea was the whole, like, grinding mentality thing, right? Like, why don't you just get everything for free at the end of the day? Companies don't need to make money. Nobody needs to make money. Let's just give everything out for free, right? And then it got taken as, oh, they're free Abrams, like as it always does when it comes to this stuff. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's called Warp Beacon. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, it was a tagline to get behind, which is how you generally get people interested in stuff. So this is his channel, and he basically does like streams and like Warhammer videos. What the hell is that? So yeah, that's what he does. Playing like different things and having a bit of fun. So yeah. Let's see. As to the economy, personally, I'm beyond any needs these days, though I've never been a free-to-play player. But I can't see how anyone who starts today could get where I got in a similar amount of time. Rewards just get worse and worse, in my opinion. At this rate, I'll struggle to get my billion SL. Jesus. I think let's say there's a little tech, right? So let's say he's like yay high, and he's like 18, right? And he's like, oh, hi big tech, I'm gonna grind War Thunder. And then you give little tech like 10 years, like I've had. I feel like little tech could probably get to where I got, at the point. But at the same time, like, I understand that's not attainable for a lot of people. So obviously that's like an individual experience. The question really is, at the end of the day, is what do you see or what do you get out of War Thunder, right? And that's the main thing. A lot of people get different things out, It's as simple as not paying the money. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Like, that's the great thing about free-to-play games, right? You don't actually have to pay the money. Like, you could just play for free. 80% of people already do it, so it's how it is. War Thunder's economy got worse and worse. It's not about economic changes, it's about Gaijin getting endless greedy and the economy sucks. This patch was just the final straw. Grinding without premium was 5 years ago bearable. You have most vehicles, you cannot talk about grinding anymore. Think about new players facing the BS economy. Alright? Not allowed to talk. Not allowed to give my opinion. I'm not allowed because I'm not a new player. Neither is this person, so they're also not allowed to talk. Nobody is allowed to talk who didn't start in 2023. Think of the new players, okay? They're the only ones who are allowed to discuss anything. What is new? Oh, that's subjective. And I get to pick, and it's when I started playing, so I'm allowed to talk about these things. Everybody's allowed an opinion on anything. Anybody's allowed to say what they want. The question is whether you open ears or not. That's it. And that's how it should be. Everybody should be entitled to whatever they want to say. Alright? 1k dislikes, 500 likes. Guess it shows how touch these content creators are? Not really. Like, it just shows how brigading works. You know? I was on your stream and you had a very based opinion. But this video is really the edge, bruv. Fair enough, chomp. Most content creators support the players and are against the changes, including Fly Daily, which typically he stays away from this type of issues. However, you create a video to call these players the minority people and to provide suggestions to Gaijin how they could have handled the minority of people to avoid the backlash on them. Basically, how they can screw us without us noticing. Sad that you are not on the player's side. Perhaps those free War Thunder perks are affecting you now. And about the economy changes, it has been proven in other videos that these are or have been decreasing / shrinking against the players. You are the only one trying to justify and saying it is equality good. You are wrong here. And you should stop trying to sugarcoat these issues in favor of Gaijin. Okay, how do I address this? The economy changes that they've put in go down a different road compared to what we've been used to in the past. Okay? This road is going to be different. We're also not at the end of it yet, which is something that has to be understood. And the fact that everybody's blowing up before we get to the end of the end of the road is only going to make the economy worse, because now we're going to get half measures, which means that we can't get to the point where it would have been equalized across the board for everybody. Right? The other thing is, it is a minority. We've been through this earlier in the video a few times. Large CCs only comment on things when it's in their favor. It's happened many times. I don't know how else to put it. It is kind of how it is. So if CCs actually gave a crap about changes like this and for the players and all of that, they would stop making War Thunder videos and, you know, start doing other things. If they really did feel like they were against the game and how the game is horrifically treating people and yada yada yada, you wouldn't promote it in any way, shape or form. But that's not what happens, is it? What ends up happening is they profit off what goes on. So I don't know what to say. Yeah, giving suggestions to Gaijin on how to manage these things from a company level is not the same as what I personally believe should be done. As always, I think transparency is 100% needed, but also leads to issues, especially when you are really bad at explaining what you are talking about, which is exactly what happened here. Am I for or against the economy changes, the ones that they were going to bring in? I don't actually think they made that much of a difference. They were increasing certain things, decreasing other things, as they always do, and then they were reducing the amounts of RP and unfolding vehicles which were based around those RP reductions. It's the same thing we've actually seen for maybe 4 or 5 years now. So yeah. I stopped playing games for one day, got my dream job, found a wife and had children. Day 2 is going to be wild. True. Go for it. Read evidence with the well-articulated responses in this chat, what the average majority thinks. This is 300 comments. There's more than 1 million people who play War Thunder per day. 300 comments is not a majority. The strike didn't work at all, no, Jetlad. Brother in Christ, always great. The economy was so bad I went from losing 20k per vehicles to 35k. Numbers don't lie. There's nothing good about the changes they put forward compared to the changes voted for. Right. The guy literally said that the player base doesn't understand how free-to-play games work, as if we'd never seen free-to-play games in our lives. If stuff was like he said, then Dota wouldn't exist, and even if you say, oh, Steam, big money, blah, 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 League is the exact same, but with less money from the studio. What? If you pay attention, they haven't talked about a single thing about the economy and the dev team response. You said it yourself a while ago, a higher rank is worse because they keep increasing requirements per rank in SLNRP. They removed all the little profits over time, like rewards from the first game and the other things. These people simply refuse to give us anything that makes things even 0.02% easier because of their simple logic of if we give them something, then they'll keep asking us for more. Anyway, uninstalled, it's been fun for okay, blah, 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 blah. Oh, wait, it was. Only one nation would top tier ground there, not even spent 36k more for the rest. Okay, cool. Like, I think I've discussed all of the points put in this before. You know, League of Legends, like, if you don't know how League of Legends works, they give you, like, a standard amount of champs. I don't know if it's changed, but the way that their model used to be, I haven't looked to the game in a while, but the way that League of Legends worked was you were given a specific amount of champions, and then when new champions were added to the game, you could only buy them for premium currency, and then after a while you could buy them for in-game currency, which you had to grind out in battles, in like games. So yeah, pretty much the same as War Thunder. You could probably find like an article which goes through how long it would take you to grind out each. Let's see if I can find one. How long does it take to grind out every champion in? Let's see. Jesus Christ. Alright, here you go. So this article was from 2019, so 3 years ago. League of Legends fan has calculated how long it would take to unlock all of the game's champions without spending any real money. Okay. Okay, Lust for Love calculates it could take as long as 3,424 days, nearly 9.5 years. Okay. So 9.5 years if you want to do it free to play. And that was 3 years ago. They've added a ton of stuff since. So it'll be more over like 10 years. Okay? People have got to stop. You've got to realize, like with other games, it's, you know, different setups, you know. Like if we're doing comparisons here, like you've got to make sure the comparisons are on point for that stuff. I'm not going to talk about the Valve one because you already brought up like a counter tier run thing. I do agree that the rank change was bad. They shouldn't have added it. It was a money grab. They did it only for money and to bring in new premiums. I heavily disagree with the idea. Said it many times. Another thing that people seem to forget, as usual, that I do disagree with a lot of decisions made. The economy stuff, yeah, they did remove a lot of the little things where you can get some money, and hopefully they can boost different areas because of it. Hopefully we see some stuff in June about it. Year after year, Gaijin nerfs the economy, at the same time adding more and more vehicles to each tech tree. You used to be able to get top tier in less than a summer vacation. Now not even, with premium time and a vehicle. This person did it in 29 hours. He also did this in 38 hours. 4 months ago. Okay. Right. Let's see. You voted for it. We had two options: nerf the economy by stats or by rank. No. We did it, said they were going to use it as an excuse to nerf the economy once again. The result would be more grind either way. Okay, so there's no winning. It's like, never mind then. Like, everything's just screwed. My vehicle variety. Not only has this been proven that balancing with economy does not work, but also the implementation on the previous point didn't fix it. It was overall a nerf. I mean, the new economy hasn't been implemented yet. Like, that's the point. Like, we're in the process of doing it, because if they did a huge shift in one patch, everybody would have lost their minds. So, like, it's simple as that. Okay, vocal minority. Well, yeah, they didn't win the vote, but guess what? The ones who won aren't happy either. Again, because it was a nerf. Just because the others aren't vocal does not mean they approve the current state of the game. Just because the others aren't vocal does not mean that they disapprove of the current state of the game as well. For the love of God. I didn't vote, but I'm still discontent with the grind. Well, maybe you should have voted then. Go ask any other CC or long-time player. The vocal minority is speaking for 80+% of the player base. No one likes this level of grind, and it shows. I have literally seen CCs, okay? I've literally seen CCs say that they want the grind to increase because they are sick of having people who have no experience at the highest tiers of the game. 2 weeks ago I saw this. 2 weeks ago. For the love of God. Some CCs literally believe that. Some of the competitive guys. Because they don't want shitters in their games. That's how they say. They won't ever say it publicly. They say it on Discords, where they don't think people can see them. Because if it actually came out they were saying that, then people will go after them. Right? I don't have issues with the economy. This one is so bad I had to laugh. I guess getting free vehicles, SL, and 24/7 365 premium does that. Literally the I got mine argument. No, it's talking about personal opinion at the end of the day. And also we talked about it, right? Like, I don't G vehicles, I just grind them out normally. I've never G'd SL, and I've never asked for SL. I don't know why I'd ever do that. The premium time is true, it definitely helps, and I do recommend everybody getting premium since it's $40 a year, which is 3 hours of work in my area. Maybe it's different for others, which is fair. If the economy is not great in the area, then I'd recommend grinding out the events so you can sell stuff and get the 40 Gaijin coin required. Don't show the changes and people wouldn't notice. Where did you get this idea that people wouldn't notice? Because I unfortunately, old man tech over here has been here for fucking years at this point. Way too many years. And I've seen it happen constantly where changes have been made and people haven't noticed at all. And you know what? It's going to happen again. Like, literally, like, out of pretty much everybody, there's no one who actually goes through the changes that they make. If you have a look at the dev server stuff, there are some changes in here which are crazy and also quite big once they come to the game, and they're not being talked about at all. Like, if we're using the idea, right, that everybody who plays War Thunder is heavily invested in, like, social media stuff and nothing else, right? So if you actually have a look at some of these things, right? So the first thing is they're removing the PT-76. I've hardly seen anybody talk about this. I don't know why they're removing it. This is a horrible thing. They shouldn't be removing this because there's no reason to, but nobody's kicking up a fuss at all about that. People who, once again, if they start the game tomorrow, will not get access to that vehicle, right? That's a problem, okay? That's a real problem. The other one is they're adding in some new like training stuff, which is quite nice. And then also at the same time, they're changing. Where is it? It's the naval one. Where are you? I can't find it. It's something to do with the fact that they're making it so. Naval vehicles don't. Naval vehicles. Oh, here we go. AI fire on main caliber turrets has been disabled. When switching to the second or third weapon group, the main guns remain stationary. So what they're doing there is they're trying to combat bots. Nobody's brought that up. No one. Right? And botting in naval is one of the biggest issues. They've also changed how reloading on capture points works, which is actually a massive benefit. Right? No one's talking about it. They're just not. Yeah, I bet you haven't seen any of these anywhere. But these are two massive changes. Right? Also, dynamic waterline is huge. And once again, the PT-76. I haven't seen any videos on this. Apart from the two that I've done on the dev server stuff. So if you don't watch those, you don't hear about this. Right? It's nuts. Right? But that should be huge. Because this, once again, is an advantage that older players will get compared to newer ones. Right? But, yeah, I just don't see people talking about it. The main issue for me is income repair costs. It's too high, simple as that. And some of the things in War Thunder don't make sense. Look at the T-3485 in the China Tech Tree. The first costs around 2k to repair. The same BR is 3.5. Same tank, only difference is the Gal has a machine gun on the roof. I know Gaijin has to make money, but the RP and repair costs are just too high. Well, I mean, the Dishka does actually make quite a bit of difference, but let's not go into that. This is what happens when you balance stuff by rank and BR and all of that. You will get vehicles which are fundamentally the same, even if they have exactly the same characteristics and statistics, that will have different repairs on them because they use differently in lineups. Okay? You haven't got a clue, that's a fact. You should research the community's issues. They've been here for more than a year and a half. I did. I've looked at pretty much every single one that's been available. I literally went through this whole thing, right? This is this is the one that everybody put together, right? Like this is all the ones. Yeah, I agree with some of this, and I disagree with some of this, such as this bit. This is brain dead, but some of them, yeah, sounds good. But once again, a lot of it is, we are here for the good, we're not here for the bad, right? BR is a bigger problem than economy. If every vehicle was balanced correctly, you wouldn't have to worry about the economy. You'll be having balanced, fair and fun gameplay. Yeah, but true balance would be playing on symmetrical maps, the same vehicles playing against each other and all that. It would just be crap at the end of the day. It wouldn't be very fun. Let them eat cake? Sure, yeah. I'll be a Marie Antoinette. That makes sense. As an ex-Scimitar reconnaissance commander for the Royal Tank Regiment and forward air controller for 29th Commando. Okay. As an ex-university student, I have first and always been a gamer at heart. Well, that's good. I was introduced to War Thunder in 2014. And have both grinded and comfortably paid my way to the British, American and Russian buyers top tier. I came across your channel, which is my go-to for news and upcoming content for the game. I feel insulted to be labelled a minority and hater, and to be spoken down to as though I somehow don't understand business, when in fact, over the years, Gaijin has increased the paywall and decreased the free bonus for paying the game. The fact the core community has had enough, which has led to negative press, which has ultimately led to developers' open dialogue for a change, can only be a positive thing, as some have stated, take away your content privileges and start the game from new whilst trying to incorporate family, jobs, and daily life schedules and see what it's like for the average user. When I started playing War Thunder, I was at university. I was double majoring. I was doing 6 courses a semester. When I left university, I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. Nowadays, I work 40 hours a week. I've also been able to maintain playing War Thunder in my off time, obviously changing depending on the year and the time, and also maintain relationships and a family. Okay? I don't know. That's just me, okay? It's just how it goes. But the problem, I don't label people as haters. It is a minority opinion, though. I'll stick by that because it's true, unfortunately. Like, until you get a majority of people saying this stuff, then it is a minority. It's just, that's how these opinions go, okay? And that's fine. And it's not that you don't understand business. My point of the video was to show you how Gaijin doesn't think you understand the business, and how that's very silly of them to do. So it's not from my point of view, that you can't understand the business, because as I said in the video, a lot of people, including myself, know a lot about free-to-play stuff, watched a lot of podcasts, read even books about it, and even like roundtables about how all this stuff is set up. Not just from a development point of view, but also from a marketing point of view. There's tons of resources out there going through all these things, right? So it's not me saying that I think people are dumb and don't understand free-to-play. It was literally Gaijin saying that. And I'm not the same as them and never will be, which is something that has to be understood. Gaijin basically called us stupid as players. The CEO post as it was very condescending. Gaijin deserved the backlash. I hope we get the 2015 economy levels. It's not even about vocal minorities. Well, it's about both, in a way. But yes, they do deserve the backlash they got because they screwed everything up. And I've said it like many times, you know. People need to chill and realize YouTubers have lives outside of their channels. Yeah, most of us. Some people don't, though, which is a bit odd. This is a bad take and a bad look. Ah, yes. Looks bad. I guess I wouldn't have an issue with the economy either if I was getting free vehicles. Right, okay, never mind. There's no point in this. It's the same things we've been over. What do you mean, believe they're a Russian company? They are a Russian company. They shall hire people mainly from Russia. They still have their main HQ in Moscow. You cannot say they are not now Russian company if they moved their company on documents to Cyprus, only last year. Hungary, actually. I know they had Cyprus office, but it was only a minor workspace for less than 5 people. Update. Well, I cannot add any more info about it in a separate comment, but you can see that Gaijin are clearly from Russia just by checking their public account at linked, and where even the lead developers are from. Let's see. Gaijin Entertainment locations. They have an office in Germany, Cyprus, Latvia, Hungary, Armenia, and UAE. Their main HQ and development center is in Hungary. Their CEO and CCO are Russian. They are brothers, twins. The creative director of War Thunder is also Russian. Most of their community managers and also their forward-facing public figures are not Russian. And many of the developers and people who work on the project are also not Russian. The core is Russian. That's about it. Okay. You can even get a career there. Look at that. They have a ton of positions open. Crazy. I disagree about remaining quiet. One of the things I've learned about business is that communication is key. You have to communicate, or the convey is another matter. I don't know about the minority thing, but the game was heading towards shit economy. It is a minority thing, once again. The communication thing... Right, okay, so... Let's talk about the communication thing for a bit from a business point of view, right? So, the business point of view is interesting. A company will never be 100% truthful about their products and also about their business side of things, like how they produce things and how they do stuff. Because if they end up doing that, then they basically tell all of their competitors exactly what is going on and exactly how they operate, and therefore will lose market share and lose the competitive edge. That's how a business looks at these things. So you communicate through PR to the point of you communicate through PR to the point of to the point of basically addressing concerns and also putting forward like other things. But at the same time, you are never 100% open about everything. Because if you do, you basically just set yourself up to fail, right? Right? Family is the most important thing. Very true. I feel like you might be a bit out of touch here. Yep, I'm just old man tech in a cave. I think the frustration has been building for quite a while. From my own experiences, I feel like, whatever. Like, I've been through these comments millions of times. In this video, I'm literally bashing the company. Like, I'm saying that what the company did was wrong on every level. Right? I don't even talk about in this video if the economy changes were positive or negative. I made sure not to mention it once. Just think about that. Because my opinion on the economy changes is that some of them were nice and some of them weren't great. Just like most economy changes. Right? But the video isn't about that. It's about how Gaijin responded to them all, which was terrible. Okay? If it's a tech to treat players like the enemy, this guy must have been born insufferable. Nah, I am a player. I know it's odd because people think there's like differences between CCs and blah 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 blah. But no, I am a player. You need to understand that Gaijin is not going to sleep with you. You don't need to worship them. I don't want them to. One of the things that I kind of like being is impartial about this stuff, you know? I like the fact that I can give my own opinions. Some CCs nowadays are actually employed by the company and they can't give their own opinions. Some people are so tied to the content creation arc when it comes to their opinions that now they have to be slaves to the majority of people. Otherwise they lose their job and their livelihood. I can just do what I want. It's freeing in a way. It's quite fun, you know? Happy for that you can meet some of your father, family first, very true. You're making this video from everything connected to War Thunder every day, so thanks. Love the War Thunder. Hope everyone will be better from now on, so I'm glad that every content creator and a lot of players are sent Gaijin their opinions. Yeah, it's good. Like, at the end of the day, it's positive that people are giving their opinions about things. That's how it should be, and it's nice to see at the end of the day. 57 Boomer, thank you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I don't think you're doing the situation justice by saying a few people lost a poll a year ago and now they're mad. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. Like, I don't even, if that's what you took for it, if you took from the whole thing, there's no point. Sorry. Take the bad take thing. Oh yeah, it's always good. You got the revolt about Kirill's post wrong. He's trying to explain how free-to-play games work is dumb, but it's not the main issue. The issue is the large amounts of hypocrisy on that post. The line where he says they don't want to make grinding vehicles so the lobbies are not filled with clones. This tells me they don't play their own game. Look at 10.0 to 11.3. Air. All you see are lobbies full of grinding vehicles in every match. There's also the you can't give players everything at once. You need to start slow and learn. Apparently, he forgot they're selling $70 rank 7 aircraft to players with zero experience. Yeah, I mean, they're basically talking about two separate sets of people, though. 80% of people don't pay anything. So that the second point and also the first point is talking to those guys, not the 20%, right? So he's talking to the majority of people. That's the idea of it. Now, at lower tiers, you don't see games. Even at like mid tiers, you don't see games, or most high tiers. Top tier, you do nowadays, or at least very, very high tier. But most things, when it comes to the like the game, if you go from like 1.0 to 9.0 or maybe 1.0 to 8.7, your games aren't full of premiums, and that's the majority of the game. That's what he's talking about, right? Tech, you've got to admit it as well. I read their post. It does sound like, well, you don't understand how free-to-play works, so we have to do this to force you to pay more money for our mechanics balancing. We do force you to pay grind, and you're wrong. We're right, and you should appreciate what we do. I mean, I don't know about any of this, but I mean, I said in the video that, yeah, their messaging was horrific. So, I don't know. Their message, the way that they put stuff out and the way that they went forward with it was awful. And it's not a surprise to me that that's how a lot of people took that setup, right? That's just how it goes, you know? Here's the thing, I actually somewhat believe the argument regarding players who watch CCs on YouTube being a minority of the playbase. Well, you don't have to believe it, it's true. Not an insignificant minority, but a minority nonetheless. However, this... Oops. Oh, fuck. Oh, dear. Alright, where am I at? Here we go. This minority group also makes up a great deal of veteran player base and those who invest more time and money in War Thunder. So the casual players who don't watch War Thunder content on YouTube or Twitch. That's why this protest is so important and why Gaijin stock prices have taken a hit. What? It's because the players who spend more money and buy premium vehicles time are the ones protesting right now and the ones who have been around for almost 10 years now. Gaijin don't have stock prices. They're a privately owned company. The next thing is so I actually get quite a lot of new players who come and watch my stuff, and they basically come and watch it because they can see vehicles that they don't see, or also at the same time you know, they kind of want opinions on, so they kind of grind to. So that's why a lot of content creators do high tier or premium vehicle content, because of the simple fact that, especially if it's new, they do it because it's what gets views, because it's what people are interested in, even if they're standard or newer players to the game. That's just, I don't know how else to put it. So it isn't just the veteran player base who are watching these things, it's also people who are, you know, playing the game for the first time, or maybe looking for more information, or whatever it is. And yeah. Another real take from EC, dude's head in the sand. I wish. It would make stuff a lot easier, actually. The greedy snail has a very good appetite. She doesn't hesitate to reach into my pocket. Self-control. Now the players have many chances to close this project if the game does not change for the better of the players. Without player donations, the game will be dead. The snail understands this. Let's wait for positive changes in the game. Oh, shit, man. The guy definitely sat alone at lunch. To be honest, in school, I was pretty sociable. I played rugby, I played cricket, I did music. I had kind of a misfits friends group, and that was really fun. We had a bit of everything, and that was awesome. Like I really enjoyed it. At university, I was a lot more asocial because of just the amount of work I had and the fact that I didn't have any money to go out and party or go to clubs or anything. So I became a lot more, unsociable. I don't know what asocial, whatever it is. Not hanging out with as many people. But the simple thing is, after university, I went back to doing the sociable thing, like whether it's through like work or through other things, and just kind of having fun. Like it's just how it is. Let me explain the people from a casual player with years and hundreds of dollars in the game. You're not a casual player then. Sorry. You're not, that 80% of people are not on your level. So sorry. Moving on. I strongly disagree with tech on this one. I've been playing War Thunder since it was released. Way back when we had planes up to World War II, no tanks, no ships. So have I, and the game released with the Sabre and the MiG-15. So I'm really sick of people saying that because it's just wrong once again. There was no tanks or ships though. Just a few game modes and so on. Yeah, historical battles. I remember the economy from the beginning of the game. It was never crazy rewarding. Yes, it was. But it was enough for you to unlock and purchase a new vehicle in a matter of a day or two. The way that the economy used to work is you had a level system where if you researched the level, you unlocked a bunch of vehicles at the same time. Even with a premium account, utilizing premium vehicles and being the top 25% of the matches you played, it took multiple weeks to unlock a new vehicle, assuming 2 or 3 hours a day at high tiers. That's on its own is ridiculous, but it's not even the worst part about it. After unlocking a new vehicle, spending good weeks amount of work, you cannot even afford the freshly unlocked vehicle. Yeah, once again, high tier ground player doesn't have SL. Maybe we should start looking at high tier ground and not saying the whole game is screwed, How are people mad you want to see your father? Because some people don't have patience. Clearly they're playing games to make up for social loss. Hey, you can't say that. You can't bring up that. Oh, goddamn. Very true, John. As much as I normally appreciate new videos, this one came off as extremely detached and out of touch. That's fine. I'd hardly call players who are fed up with Gaijin's predatory tactics and generally poor game management crazy people. The video from today should show how many crazy people there are. The video I did today, which is on the same day as this video, so just go back like a few hours. You'll see the amount of crazies that believe in literal conspiracy theories, like how Gaijin is artificially manipulating Steam numbers, how they're adding bots to the game, that they're reactivating banned accounts to inflate player numbers. It's insane. I'd highly recommend watching Tim's Variety Newest Economy videos and take some notes on how to create a response that makes it seem like you actually play the game. I do play the game. This is my response. Pay to play, pay $100 for all the game. Free to play, pay $10,000 for all the game. Okay. That's pretty much how it works, yeah. First, sorry for my bad English. Understand. Actually, no, there's a lot of $100 games nowadays that you don't get hardly anything for free. Look at COD right now. I understand your point of view, but Gaijin's explanation to how the free-to-play model work is simply wrong. I've been through this before. Star Trek Online was in the same way. The hunger for profit was bigger than the will to serve the player base and develop the game with new features. 5 years before it was 2 seasons, and lots of new stuff, what the free-to-play players could enjoy, but they lost balance. Now the game is pay to progress, no new content, just new lockbox and promo ships. In addition, those ships are copy-paste models. Nowadays, it has ruined economy, no chance for free-to-play players to gain some premium goods. Ruined market and overpriced ships, even after event after event without any major reward. The fleet system is useless, no benefits. Participating in a fleet because they got since years, no new gears, ships, etc. 5 years ago, it was 2 to 3 seasons from the story lines per year. Today, it was one storyline stretched with the same lesser quality. So basically, it got worse over time, right? I get the idea, but at the same time, one of the things to note is if this was the case, then War Thunder would have been reducing the amount of free content that they've been putting out each year, which they haven't. They've actually increased the amount of free content that is available for everybody per year. That's just how it is. Have you tried playing the game without your 60 million SL and grind from nothing? I mean, I wasted like 60 million SL, like, I don't know, how many months ago was it? Like 3 or 4? And I've grinded a bunch of SL on top of it while getting a bunch of vehicles while going along. But yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It's against the terms of service to have multiple accounts. So I can't do it. It's not possible. Or not allowed, I should say. Which sucks. But it is how it is. I thought your takes can get worse, but was I wrong? I mean, it is how it is. Year after year, Gaijin nerfs the economy, at the same time adding more and more vehicles to each tree. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, where is it? Yeah, so if you actually have a look at the next major update, there are 4 premiums, I think, and then like 32 or 33 standard tech tree vehicles that you can grind. Not all high tier, most of them are actually low tier, or mid tier, I should say. And then also a bunch of content which is free here that everybody gets access to. The new tech tree, all of this is free that you get access to. All of it is free. So all of this is based on 4 premiums. One of them which is pretty much a copy paste, and the other ones I can't even remember. So yeah, as a free-to-play player, you do get access to the vast majority of content for free, 90 to 95% of it. And that's not even going into like the market stuff or like the event stuff or anything like that, you know? It's just how it is. But the premiums are $70 top tier premiums. Yeah, so just don't buy them. Just grind our events, you know? Do battle pass. Or don't do either and just, you know, don't worry about the top tier playing. Just have fun in other areas. Let's see. Here are the bad takes. You voted for it. We had 2 options. I want to know what other option people wanted. What would you put as like another option? Nowhere did it say we're going to use this as an excuse to nerf the economy once again. I want somebody to actually do like an economic breakdown of how it's all gone. That would be quite nice. Vehicle variety. Not only has it been proven that balancing with economy does not work, but also the is this just like a copy of like one of the other comments? Yeah, it is. What the hell? Are people just copy pasting comments? Hey Lorden, nice to see you. I used to play more when they had enduring conflict. They ended that, so I play less. Fair enough. What are we talking about here? The economy is just silly. Last game I played. Okay. What was the point of this video? A minority people are mad? You say you're not a shill, but talks like you're inside a bubble with Gaijin. This entire video was you defending them. What? I literally said in the video they got everything wrong. It's like... What am I supposed to say? I said they did everything wrong. Everything. Everything. What am I supposed to do? If you really understood what they wanted to change, your discourse would be a lot different. But you don't care. I don't care. You have everything in the game, can ask for vehicles for free, has 3% money from your decal, and can afford to continue playing without any troubles, even if it's pay to play. If the game turned to pay to play, I would drop it instantly. I would not play the game if they went to a paid model. I don't think it is correct for them to do that. People are mad? Yes. Because Gaijin wants to do a bait and switch, telling everyone is free to play, but you have to sweat your ass off for crumbs while paying prices of AAA games. Here we go again. People are done. You don't have to pay those prices. You get 95% of the content in War Thunder for free. It's nuts. People are done with Gaijin sweet talking their way out of things. I don't know if you see it. I mean, you say you're the only one that can read properly. Seems to be. But there's a good reason why this is happening and Gaijin deserves every bit of it. Sure. Yeah, and I even talked about it in the video. Because their fucking messaging and what they did was wrong. Fuck, man. But you have to grind for years? Yes. Welcome to MMOs. In order to get access to everything in Call of Duty, a game which you have to pay for, you also have to grind for years. Like, just go and have a look at like World of Warcraft. Or just, like, literally we just showed League of Legends. In order to get access to everything, and this was in 2019, so before all the content they added in the last 3 years, you had to play 9.5 years to grind out everything in the game in League of Legends. The champions, so not even everything. Okay? In World of Warcraft, there's a bunch of things you can't get access to anymore. And you have to pay for expansions. And there's like 5 different fucking variants of the game, which all have access to different things. And you have to pay a subscription for it. It's nuts. Like, for instance, I remember when I bought the Co, that thing was an SL making machine. I reached 10 mil SL in a reasonable amount of time. Grinded all the way up to rank 5 and bought everything with SL spare. They fucked the economy so much you could barely get 1 mil SL while it was still 4.7. You think? I think it's still a pretty good grinder. I think it works well. They haven't changed its percentages at all. You can still make the same amount from it. If, you know. Yeah, it's 675. It's pretty good. They come up with vague, nonsensical arguments about the things they're doing, and you make a video saying, oh, it's right here, if only read things the right way. All people do today is interpret things and not read what's being said. I'm also done with giving you the benefit of the doubt about your position on things. Sincerely, go fuck yourself. Peace. You don't have to give me the benefit of the doubt. You know, you don't need anything. Just don't watch the content, man. It's a free world. You don't have to. You know, just like you don't have to play War Thunder. The great thing about the internet is it's given people a lot of opportunity to do many different things and to get access to many different styles and many different stuff. You can pretty much work out exactly what you want thanks to the internet. So don't ever get stuck in a loop where you're doing stuff you don't want to do. Okay. Gaijin greed? Yep, they're a company. Companies are pretty greedy. The Gaijin revolutionaries are quite cringe and vindictive. You can be mad about Gaijin screwing up, but they're acting like it's not a video game in the end, attacking everyone and their mothers. Yeah, they literally, like, put posters on the fucking building, man. And like real life, most people don't know or don't care about the issue, just go on with their life, and it's the relative effect of the boycott on the 26th. Yep, he's hit the nail on the head. Weird. But I don't like the use of polls Gaijin did last year to defend these changes, because they have implemented these changes, or the other poll choices, on the polls to be a buff on the economy instead of a nerf, and using the excuse you voted for it just feels like gaslighting. I mean, that's fair. I don't think it's gaslighting, and because they didn't vote for it, they voted against it usually. So basically, what that means at the end of the day is, what that means at the end of the day is, you're just hearing the people who lost overall in their opinions. It's just how it is. I don't recall voting for 80k rewards for getting 12 kills and dropping a nuke. Nobody voted for whatever the recent changes were. Repeating it like a mantra doesn't make it true. They did. January 2022. You can go and have a look. We've talked about it a few times. The other thing as well is nukes haven't even been around for that long. So I don't know. Gaijin didn't do anything right. That's weird because every forum I've read for the last 3 years is that Gaijin, oh that's right, still hasn't done anything right. Well, they actually did royally, just go around the place, I just want to play the game, be treated fairly as an Xbox player, not be crapped on by Gaijin. It's great that all the PC guys came together and stood up. However, why don't you help our fellow console players the Gaijin continues to neglect? Because they don't care about you, because you're a minority. And the one thing that PC players, especially when it comes up to a setup, don't like, it's console players. Because unfortunately they're vindictive assholes. One of the things that I've done over the years is I've literally made videos on the channel talking about issues about PlayStation and Xbox to put them out there so they can get fixed. The vast majority of them have been fixed. Not all of them, but hopefully the rest will be too. Yeah, hopefully everyone does have a good day. Appreciate the somber view on the topic and not polluting the space. Leave more clickbaity and pitchfork tarpid types of videos. Yeah, it is how it is. I didn't personally see those comments, but people who think they're absolute idiots coping with the fact just because they don't have a life doesn't mean that other people can't have one. Oh, that, yeah. Wasn't it just one person that wrote the tone-deaf response, since it says, who better to talk about this, whatever his name is, implying that it was one person, and that post wasn't what annoyed me. What annoyed me was the fact that some of the people in the community are stupid, that they started bashing the devs and community managers for it. Well, the guy is Kirill Yudintsev. He's the one of the higher ups at Gaijin, right? That's the thing. Oh, God, there's so many, man. I think I probably covered everything, right? Like, we're 2.5 hours in. I feel like we've gone over pretty much all the opinions that exist. Maybe I missed any. If you feel like I've missed some, like, stick them in the comments of this one, I suppose. But my voice is dying, and I feel like I've pretty much addressed everything. So, yeah, simple as that. Be the end of the video. Look after yourselves. Peace.